Okay, everyone, welcome back to another weekly watch list video. We're going to go over everything you need to know for the week ahead. So if you're trading, swing trading, intraday trading, scalp trading, if you're investing anything, you want to know what I'm about to show you here. We always like to know the earnings coming up, the economic calendar, if there's Fed speakers that are going to be talking, etc., etc. So let's go over this. These are the earnings for the week. Something that's standing out to me right away is FedEx on Thursday. This is going to be a really important earnings release for this week. Potentially can, give investors a sense of the overall economy. Are they still seeing a lot of inflation in their business? Is the customer still spending the money, getting things shipped, and how are those supply chains maybe easing up or not easing up? So that's one that's going to be on watch there, FedEx on Thursday. Okay, this is the economic calendar for the week. And the most important thing is the Fed, okay? Jerome Powell is going to be testifying before the Senate panel here on Wednesday. And he's going to be testifying before the House panel on Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, heavy Jerome Powell. Even on Tuesday, the Fed is going to be speaking. So this week, heavy Fed week. We thought that maybe we were going to have a break after the last 2 weeks. Not going to happen this week. And on Friday, you have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. This is a big one that's going to be at 10 a.m. our time. And then you have some more Fed. So this week, economic calendar, know when you're trading. Whatever you're trading, know that they can have big moves along these times. So that's your economic calendar for the week. And let's get right into our SPY. I always start here. And, before I get started with this, you can see here, even though the market is closed today is Monday, the market is closed, the US market, but the futures are open. Okay. So if we look at the world markets, I'll just pull that up here, they were still trading. So over in Asia, Germany, the UK, all those markets were still trading overnight. So our futures are still open, but our regular stock market, the cash portion of that is just closed. So that was closed for the day, but you can see here the futures, they're up big. So if we take a look at the ES, all right, on the ES, you have the futures up a lot. Now we hit highs here of 372, 3,725. Okay. What that would be on the S&P, and you can see down here, the SPY has not moved because the market is not open. So the SPY would be around 372. So if we zoom out even more, 372 would be way up here. So even though the futures market is up big, you have to almost, this is pretty easy to predict that this is going to pull on back because we're not going to gap up over all this on a day where there's absolutely zero equity trading in the US. So this would be probably a good short here to come back down a little bit. But that's just something that maybe you guys don't realize, that you can trade futures even when our US market's closed. But just be careful because liquidity is a problem. You can't use, like I like to use SPY as a directional. You can't do any of that. So it's just a very risky thing. I don't even bother trading this when the market's closed. Just so you guys know, though, we went all the way up to 372, which would be a massive move if it was, regular trading, but it's not. So forget all that. Let's go over to the SPY and let's see what maybe will happen this week. This is our compass. I like to look at this and see, the potential for moves. So something that I realize here. So on the weekend, on our Twitter account, I posted this. This is something that, I was looking at. I have the SPY up here. SPY is hitting an area of high probability for a bounce. The price is 7% under the 20 EMA on the daily. The spot all year, we have seen a bounce. The RSI is also very oversold. So if we take a look at this, this is a 7% up to the 20 EMA. This is something, if you want to follow me at Mr. Greenbar on Twitter, something I'm posting on the weekend, totally up to you. But that's something that I'm noticing for this coming week, and something that every time we were 7%, so off lows up to the 20, 7.59%. Every time we have gotten to this level, we have seen a bounce. So we're very overextended. These overextended moves are ripe for a reversal. And you can see here on the daily, the RSI, very, very oversold, okay? We all know the market is oversold. We're looking for a bottom. We're looking for a bounce. But we're always wondering, where can we see that bounce? That's why I do these technicals based on what I have seen in the history of this year, okay? So that's just something to be aware of. The 200 moving average on the weekly is about 350. That would be a very nice spot to be getting long at. But we're going to see bounces before that even happens. All right, so that's the SPY on the Qs. We're looking at this one, and we're coming into support. So let's take a look at this one on a weekly chart. And I'm going to be showing a lot of weekly charts because most charts are absolutely destroyed. So where can we see that bounce possible on the weekly area here? And right here, this stands out to me as a spot where we saw resistance and then we got support, and we have not seen this be touched until right now. We're coming into that area. We're also coming into the 200 on the weekly chart. So over here at 263. So, breaking down out of this consolidation, not the most bullish move, but that being said, where can support possibly give us that bounce? We're just looking for a bounce here. All right, so if we look at SPY also on the weekly, this was before coronavirus. We saw the sell-off, and this is coming right in to where we're seeing that 200 moving average. I really would love to get involved long around here. This is also a spot where we saw that resistance, 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 and then broke out. So right here, a solid spot for the potential for us to see some support finally get built up into the market, because most charts right now are looking really, really bad. So they're going to have to base out a little bit before we can see that move back up. So that's the SPY. The next one I'll show you guys is the Dow Jones, okay? This is the DIA ETF for the Dow Jones. And wouldn't you know, this past week, we hit exactly to the penny where we were pre-COVID. So we have made an entire move and then retraced that whole move. Just like what we're seeing on a lot of other stocks, whether it be Bitcoin, even. A lot of asset classes have gotten destroyed. But this is now setting up here again by the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. These can be areas here where we can start to see a bounce. So I'm very excited. But you have a heavy Fed week this week. So if you thought it was going to be easy, it's probably not going to be. So that's the SPY, the Qs, and the Dow Jones. And now I'm going to show you guys a couple of stocks that are on watch, okay? This doesn't mean that they're, buys right now, but they are on watch. And one of them is NEO. And this one is showing some, potential for a breakout. We can see here this descending trend line right here. We're right at the top of it. We have had support coming out of this since May. We double bottomed on the year. We're now over the 50 moving average. We're over the 20 EMA. And now we have gap to fill. So our gap fill would be right to here. You can see this gap down, and that was resistance. And you also have the 200 moving average. So if we can break out, my next area where I would be looking for this to move would be to eventually fill this gap. So if we can see some momentum, which this is diverging from the overall market, look at this, very much diverging, making higher highs and higher lows, but we need to see that breakout. You see that breakout, we can potentially get long and see a nice momentum trade. But let's just wait until this breaks this level first, this trend line. So that's NEO. Another one is Amazon. And the reason I'm looking at this, since it's split, this has been very clear support down here. So if we look at this on the weekly, you can see what was resistance has now become support. So this is something that I am definitely looking like this is a huge demand zone. You can see here, even on the weekly, these really big wicks. That means that there's been demand. Every time it's touched here, there's been demand. So 102, 100 to give us some wiggle room. If that holds up, we can see some moves higher. If it breaks down, this is going to crush the market even further. It's also going to crush this chart even further. So we need to see this hold up here. So calls if it holds up, puts if we break down. So that's Amazon, Tesla, another one. Take a look at this on the weekly. We have support at 625. Now, one reason why I'm looking at these all on the weekly chart is because the daily charts for these look really bad. So just taking a look at this on the year, these charts look pretty bad. At least Tesla has found some support down here for a possible double bottom. That's why I actually think that we can see a move back to the 700, because this is an area we're seeing some consolidation, a move back to the 700, the 707 where the 20 EMA is. But taking a look at other stocks, you could just go down the list here. Every single one is just looking really, really bad on the year. Just brutal, brutal charts. Home Depot's another one, just breaking down. Facebook, another one, breaking down. So this is something on the weekly. We had pointed this out. This actually was one of my best trades of the week right here. We had weekly support trend line, and then we broke that. So this is a trade that I took short and had over 150% winner taking puts here on Meta. So that was really good. So, taking a look more at a bigger picture, especially when the market is just looking really bad on every daily chart, has just kind of broken down. Like even Pfizer, this has been on over a year of a nice trend line. We get that break of the trend line. So we like to look at these on a bigger time frame. XLE is the same way. This one we had shown on the weekly chart that we were coming into a triple top. Every time it hits up here, going all the way back to 08, we've seen huge sell-offs. So that's what we're seeing again here on XLE. Huge sell-offs, the triple top, and that's why I'm saying look at these on a bigger time frame so that you can see the potential for where we can take profit and what has happened up here. So this is very clear. I mean, a very clear triple top here. And XLE has just sold off dramatically. So the last one I'm going to show you guys is XBI. This is the biotech ETF. All right. COVID lows. We pointed this out a couple of weeks ago. This was on watch. We came back down and we retested this on the daily chart. So this is something, if this can hold up, great. If it breaks down, then we have another leg lower on the biotech. But I really like this volume that we saw here on Friday. This was a really nice move, a nice bounce off of 62. So that's why this one's on watch, but we need to see this break out. We're setting up a base here, but I want to see a breakout. So that's why XBI is also on watch. I think that pretty much covers it. I tried to go over this as fast as possible for you guys. These videos could take a little long, but hit the thumbs up for me. If you're new, subscribe. And we have our Discord group. The link will be in the description. You can always come join us in there as well. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one.